Well, welcome everyone to the business model canvas. Thanks for coming. Uh, Thank you, Jenny and Victor, for putting this together so we can have a little broader reach with our message, teaching people how to build models of their business. So for the next 3 Mondays, Victor with the SBDC, I'll let him introduce himself, but that's all I'll give you now. We'll be teaching this uh, building model of your business. So those of you that don't know me, I am Curtis Baugh, Director of Asset Development over here at the EKD Center, Evelyn K. Davis Center, and the Financial Empowerment Center. Anyway, know that I'm a one-on-one business coach. So you can, everything at the center here is free. So you can always schedule to meet with me. We can sit down and talk about your business. We can do several, we have lots of resources, but I can help you get your tax ID numbers. We have some education classes. We have some literacy classes, growth accelerator classes. But getting your tax IDs, don't pay somebody to do that if you haven't done that, because we will do that. I do have some attorneys that do pro bono work, so anytime you need something like that, make sure reach out to me first before you spend the money. So I'll also help you with your TSB, your targeted small business applications or process, whatever. The SBA, the director is in here a couple times a month, all day. So if you do want to talk to the SBA directly, rather than chase it another way, we also at the center have personal financial coaches. So if you want to improve your credit score, and again, all of that is free. It's confidential. When you work with those folks, we don't really hear what your scores are. That's all proprietary information. So thank you, Jenny, Victor, for making this happen. And if you have questions, let me know. You can let Victor know, or you can let Jenny from the Des Moines Public Library, or or I suppose anybody through the library. But yeah, you have lots of resources, lots of people that are willing to help get you down the road. So anyway, I'll turn it over to Victor. He'll explain who he is and what the program's all about, but you can certainly ask questions of me at any time. Victor.
Okay. Thank you, Curtis, and thank you, Jenny. I am Victor Oyervides with the Small Business Development Centers. My office is in Ames, but I also am doing outreach at the Financial Empowerment Center. At least once a month, I will be there. And if you want to make an appointment to go over the business model canvas or other topics, you can get in touch with Curtis, and he can set up the meetings for us, and we could meet. Usually I go there on Mondays. So that if that is an opportune, or if it's a different date, that would be good. Just let Curtis know, and we can work on our schedules and rearrange things so that we can meet and talk about your business model. And well, we're going to start up with the business model, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see the screen, Curtis? All right, okay. So welcome everyone to the business model canvas. I got a favor from everybody. Whoever has joined us, do put in the chat your name, your complete name, So like that, because there might be a couple of them that say iPhone or other titles on the screen when we're seeing the persons who are attending. And like that, we will know who did attend this workshop today. And the business model canvas was started by Alex Osterwalder and other group, a large group of entrepreneurs. They have a company that's called Strategizer, and they have a book called Business Model Generation. If anyone is interested in seeking out more information about the business model canvas, they can, this is a great book that they could use. And I just want to share about this collaboration that we are doing on a monthly basis at the Financial Empowerment Center and through the Financial Empowerment Center. It's the collaboration between the Small Business Development Centers of Iowa and the Financial Empowerment Center. And we are doing the business model canvas around the year. Most of the months we have been doing them once a month. We have done them in English and Spanish for nonprofits. And we will be working in the future on an in-depth business model tools assessment workshop, but that will be in the future. And also with Curtis and Financial Empowerment, they also have the Master Business Boot Camp that they do. I'm not sure if they do it on a quarterly basis or twice a year, but yeah, Curtis can talk about that afterwards. And well, my position within a Small Business Development Center is the Minority Business Development Counselor. The need was, there was seen that a need was to reach out to the minority groups throughout the state of Iowa. And that's what we have been doing in collaboration with the Financial Empowerment Center, with other organizations throughout the state. And well, when we start the workshop, we always see that there are many questions that small business owners and that entrepreneurs and possible small business owners have on their mind. And I know COVID-19 has been unprecedented worldwide disruption. And small business owners have been, they have been thinking about closing, or maybe if they have been closing, they think about reopening, or maybe starting up a new business because that business wasn't functioning as well. Or some are thinking about expanding, or some have even thought about pivoting their businesses. But yeah, if you have thought about that, or there's other questions that you have, one thing that we are sure of is that the business model canvas is a great tool to use to assess your business model. And right now is a great time. It's a good time to assess your business model. There have been many disruptions. Some businesses have slowed down. Their entrepreneurs and small business owners have seen that they have to pivot their business. So right now, it's an appropriate time to assess your business model and think about and see, is your business model feasible? Is it not? And this is why we are having these workshops, so that whoever has a business can see, is it feasible to continue with the business model that you have at the moment? Or should you pivot toward a different business model? And if you are just starting up, this is an opportune moment, because before you even invest money, it's good to know if your business idea or your business concept is feasible. And that's why the business model canvas is a great tool. And well, let's start with the basic terms that we'll be talking about today. And first of all, what is the goal of a business? And the basic purpose of a business is to offer value. And the value can be in terms of a product or a service or the packages of product services that you offer to your customers. And that's the goal really of a business, is to create and offer, deliver and offer value. And what is a business model? A business model describes how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. And that's the key to all small businesses. It's important to remember that the purpose of your business is to create, deliver, and capture value. And I like to show that in a graph. And this graph explains it. It explains and it shows how a business should create value, should deliver value, and should capture value. And the goal is for it to be a cycle, because you want the cash flow to continue in order to grow your business, in order to expand your products or services, and in order to give your customers that customer experience and customer satisfaction that they are seeking out. And so this graph, you will continuously be seeing it throughout this workshop, because I always like to remind entrepreneurs and small business owners that this is the end goal of all businesses: create value, deliver value, and capture value. And well, the question that a lot of people ask me is, what tool can I use to develop my business model? And this is where the business model canvas comes into play. And the business model canvas is a practical business tool. It's a visual tool. It's a user-friendly tool, and it's open source. What does open source mean? Open source means that there is no copyright to using the business model canvas. Jenny sent out today the poster of the business model canvas, and she also sent out some practice handbooks so that all of you can use them to work on your business model throughout these next 3 sessions and at home. Like today, we'll go over the first 2 building blocks, and you go home and you work in depth on those 2 building blocks. Today, you have 20 minutes just to come up with some ideas or put down your thoughts, or what your existing business, what is your customer segments, and what are your value propositions, and just write them down. But you will have the whole week that you could go back and you can work in depth on those building blocks. And eventually by the 3rd week, you'll be able to have a complete business model canvas. And this tool, it's a great, because you can use it throughout the whole phase of a business, from pre-launch, when you are designing your business model and you are testing your business model to see if it's feasible or not, and then you are implementing it, you put it into practice, and you started up your business, and then you can use it to manage your business model also. And you can use it throughout the whole life cycle, from pre-launch all the way to expansion and growth, and even eventually if you reach the phase of succession planning. And so this business model canvas is very practical, very useful, and as we stated, it's open source. There is no copyright to it. Anyone can use it, and it is accessible at strategizer.com. And as we were saying, during the pre-launch, you can use the business model as a map or as a plan that will guide you on launching your business. And then as you start up your business or you have your small business, it's a useful tool for creating a strategy that will guide you toward pivoting your business, toward creating a strategic plan, toward expanding your business. This tool is very, very useful in any of these manners, and to use it for whatever phase or strategy or need that you have for your business. And so the business model canvas is just a great tool, and we can't really stop really promoting it. And that's why we came up with this business model workshop, because we saw the need for entrepreneurs and small business owners to learn about the business model canvas. And why? Because the business model canvas is made up of 9 building blocks. And these 9 building blocks are what make up all businesses. All businesses have these 9 building blocks as part of their business. And so it's very important to learn about each of the building blocks. And here you can see that we're talking about the customer segments. And then we're talking about the value propositions being the product, services, and the package of the customer experience and that you sell to the value that you sell to your customer segments. And then we're going to talk about customer relationships, the channels, the revenue streams. Revenue streams really means money that comes in. And then we're going to talk about key partners and key activities and key resources and a cost structure. And that's your expenses. Now, if you notice, we divide the business model canvas into 2 parts. From value proposition to customer segments, down all the way to revenue streams. We're talking about 5 building blocks. That's the exterior. That's what your customer segments can see. That's if you go to a theater and you go see a play, that's everything that's in front of the curtain that the audience can see. Now, the 4 other building blocks on your left, key partners, key activities, key resources, and cost structure, those are the building blocks that are not seen. And that's everything that's behind the curtain. That's everything that makes your business go, that makes your business successful. And these 3 building blocks are where all the expenses are originated. And so that's how we divide the business model canvas. And so we always start with what the customer segments can see. And that's why we start up with the customer segments. But before that, let's talk about 5 best practices. Usually I'm in my office where I have a big poster of the business model canvas behind me. And usually when I print them out floor plan size. And so I stick them up on my wall, my office wall, and I use sticky notes. And if you have a floor plan size business model canvas, you can use sticky notes, and it's very convenient, because if you have ideas or things change in your business, all you have to do is change 1 sticky note for the new version. The only reason that I recommend to write on the business model canvas directly is when you have it laminated. And when you have it laminated, a poster size, floor plan size, you can use dry erase markers, and you could erase whatever you want to change around. Now, for this workshop, that's why we sent out the practice handbook. And in the practice handbook, we have each of the building blocks on a separate sheet of paper with questions, with ideas about what you can write in the little rectangle that you will have on each of the sheets. And that's what we recommend for you to write out your ideas. Okay. And also, when you are starting out with the business model canvas, we just ask people to just start up. Don't over analyze your ideas. All ideas are good at the beginning because you are brainstorming and you're putting down ideas. And so you just put down your ideas and you can start from any of the building blocks, because sometimes you may have an idea of starting up with the equipment that you have. And so you would start with your key resources. And from there, you start working on what is going to be your value proposition. Who are your customer segments? Or you can start up from another building block. So really, you can start up anywhere. Now, when you're writing down your ideas, even on the sticky notes, we recommend not to use bullet points, because if you write down bullet points on your sticky notes, that implies that you have two different ideas. And if one of the ideas is not working, then that means you have to scratch out the idea that's not working. Or you have to rewrite the sticky note and put up the idea that is working and take off the one that's working. So we recommend one sticky note per idea. And also avoid writing a big paragraph, avoid writing too much detail, and get to the point. You probably could write it down with the maximum one sentence, and just write down what is the idea behind your value proposition and what you're writing about. And then each of the ideas within the value proposition, you put on a different sticky note. And here is an example of what not to do. And I'll explain right now, because if you notice, all the sticky notes are one color, and that can get very confusing when you have two different customer segments or three different customer segments, and each of the customer segments has a different value proposition and a different channel. So this is what we recommend, to use two or three, depending on how many customer segments and how many value propositions you have. Use that different kind of color code with the sticky notes. So when you're working visually, you'll know, oh, this idea goes with this customer segment, and this value proposition goes with the second customer segment. So visually, it will help you when you're working on your business model canvas. And these are just some best practice tips that we're offering. And now let's start with the customer segments. And this is our first building block that we will start talking about. And the customer segments. What are the customer segments? Well, the customer segments are the group of people. They are the users or organizations that you are creating value for whom you are helping solve problems, or you are helping satisfy needs. So customer segments is that group of people. It could be a group of people, and we will get in depth right now, according to age or demographics. But usually customer segments, the definition is the group of people who you are creating value for. And traditionally, when we talk about customer segments, we have defined them by these three characteristics. Demographics, and when we're talking about demographics, we're talking about their age, the geography, socioeconomic aspects. And then the second way we can define customer segments is by their psychographics, by their beliefs, by their customs, by their culture. If you are working with a niche market that is ethnic market, if you are working with your own culture and creating a value proposition for your culture, well, you will create your customer segments according to this definition. And then also another manner of defining customer segments is by their behaviors, by hobbies, habits, interests, likes, dislikes. But we want to introduce a fourth manner of how to define your customer segments. And the fourth manner is by the jobs to be done. In other words, we segment them by who they are. And the first three describes who they are. Who are your customer segments? But the fourth one that we are introducing today, if you had not heard about it, is based on the jobs that your customer segments are trying to get done. And to get a better idea of jobs to be done, it's a fundamental problem customers hope to address or a need they hope to satisfy. It is what customers hire a product or a service to do for them. And if you see on your right hand on the top of the screen, you will see a smartphone. Okay, initially when all of us started having cell phones, really what was the purpose or the job that the cell phone was doing? It was doing the same job as our landline phone that we had at home. We would call people, and then eventually we got to texting, and then eventually smartphones added on photographies and other aspects and other apps. But now the smartphones for us as entrepreneurs, for small business owners, for executives, the smartphone is really our office away from the office. Really, our smartphones are our carry around computer where we can make schedule appointments, we can send out emails, we can answer letters, we can even work on PowerPoints, we can do many, many things. We can organize and manage our businesses through different apps. So really a smartphone now, the job that it's doing is being an office away from the office for a lot of persons, especially small business owners and entrepreneurs. And now that we've going through COVID-19, the smartphone has been very useful for also for sales and for people paying us directly without having to use currency or change or money or cash. They paid us through our apps, through Square or through Clover or other systems. And so the smartphones, that's the job that they are doing now. And so you have to think about your products, your services, your value proposition, that which we will talk about in a couple of minutes. Think about it that way. What job is it going to be doing? What are your customers going to be hiring your product or your service to do for them? And when we think about jobs, there are three basic types of jobs that are done. One is the functional job. The functional job entails a task being done or solving a problem that is very technical. And here I put on the postscript to manage your wealth. And so there are businesses that manage wealth. And another functional job can be an attorney, can be a CPA, can be a graphic designer or web page designer. And so you see that that business model is solving a problem. And usually it's a very technical aspect that they work on. And that's the functional job. And then the other type is the social jobs. And the social job describes how a customer wants to be perceived. And now talking about smartphones, what's the difference between all the other brands and an iPhone, or even now the Samsung Galaxy. And we see that at least with the younger generation, they want an iPhone or they want a Samsung Galaxy because they are perceived by their peers as having one of the best phones around. Gym shoes, if we're talking about Air Jordans, people are paying $200, $300 for a pair of gym shoes. Why? Because those Air Jordans are they are fulfilling the job of helping the customers to be perceived how they want to be perceived. And here we put on the posted one of the obvious ones was the show off success on the posted stickers. And then the third one would be an emotional job and describes how a customer wants to feel. And I'll give you an example. Executives who travel year round and do their business from the hotel rooms, they got an emotional job that they want to have accomplished, and that is to have a good night's sleep. They don't want a hotel where people are coming in and out during the night and making noise, and the pillows are not comfortable, and the aircon is probably not working. No, they want a room where they know they're going to go get a good night's rest and be ready for the next day for their meetings, wherever they're going to be meeting with other executives or small businesses or corporations. So that's the job that those hotels are getting done for executives. And these are just three job types of what can be accomplished when we're talking about jobs to be done. In the customer segments, it's important to take into consideration that we tend to put a lot of information when we are writing down our Post-its or sticky notes and putting them on the business model canvas. We tend to put a lot of information, but overall goal is not to focus on the one block on the customer segment, but to understand the big picture of how you are creating, delivering, and capturing value, and for who. And to start thinking about, okay, who are your specific customer segments? And then if you want to pivot your business, you start thinking, okay, what are the customer segments that I aim to reach? And what is the job that I would be doing for them? And so these are ideas that you can think about. And now we're going to go into value proposition. And this is our second building block for today. And these are the first two that we will see. Customer segments are the people that you are creating value for. The value proposition outlines how a bundle of products and services creates value for a specific customer segment. The value proposition, you have to think about it as not just the product or the service, but how you help your customers address a fundamental problem or need and get a job done. And that's how you have to think about your value proposition. You have to think of it as the total customer experience. What is your value proposition? And just think about the value proposition of a high-end restaurant compared to a fast food restaurant. Each gets a job done for their specific customer segments. Fast foods is a place that you can go in, you have a meal very quick. You go in, you eat, and you get out. And sometimes you stay around and you use their internet for a little while, or you sit down and read a newspaper. And so that's the job that is being done for that customer segment. But if you're at a higher end dine-in restaurant with full service, the customer segments are requesting a different job to be done. And so that's how you have to think about your value propositions. Think of it as the bundle of product services, the bundle of that customer experience that you are offering to your customer segments, and the value that you are creating for your specific customer segment. The value being not just the product and service, but encompasses the whole customer experience. And that's what you have to think about when you're thinking about the value proposition. And the value proposition is, and as we're saying, your product or your technology is not your value proposition. It's how you specifically create value for a customer segment. That is your value proposition. How you specifically create value, how you specifically get a job done for your customer segments. That is what you have to answer for your customer segments. And there are themes that help customers create value. And the first theme is helping customers get a functional job done. And we come back to that word, functional job. And as a value proposition, when you get a functional job done, you are, and I put some examples here, you are helping in performance, or getting your customer segments to get a job done better, or customization, or accessibility, or usability, or pricing, or helping reduce costs. So these are different functional jobs that your value proposition can offer toward your customer segments when you are helping a customer get a functional job done. So you can help them optimize their performance or customize their experience. And that's what businesses, as we continue to go shopping and to retail stores, a lot of times they want to request our emails, our phone numbers. They want us to sign up for their newsletters. And when we get them, we see how they are customized, how they send us specials or offers, but we will notice that it has our name and it's directed toward us and our tastes, because they start seeing what are our buying patterns. And so this is how small businesses are learning who their customer segments are and how they can help their customers get a better functional job done. And so these are things to think about as entrepreneurs and small business owners. And then the second is helping customers get a social job done. And here we're talking about helping a customer build their brand, their status, their communication, helping your customer segment be fashionable, or having a new product, something new. And this is what, when you are getting a job done, a social job done, this is what it accomplishes. It works on the brand, on the status, communication, being fashionable, being new. And we see with the younger generations, this is very important. And we see how status is very important, how brands are very important, how fashion is very important, how new products are very important. And well, we just finished coming out of the Christmas season. And for those who do have children, I'm pretty sure that the children were requesting a new toy or new games or new video game or new something new that came out. And that's the goal of businesses during the Christmas season, to get out all those new products and services. And so this is what businesses do. They're getting a social job done. And then we have helping customers get an emotional job done. And this is where you help risk reduction, like not getting the lowest price product or service, but the experience that you seek. And this, talking about the hotel that we talked about. We talked about going to a hotel where you know you're going to get a good night's rest, where you know that you're going to have access to office equipment and maybe a conference room and other business tools. And but you know that the monthly, I mean the daily fee that you will be paying at that hotel is going to be higher than if you went to a lower price hotel. That is what that emotional job, that is what that hotel is accomplishing. And then also emotional jobs work on aesthetic design and emotional state, especially now with wellness and other key trends that we are seeing that are very important, especially since we have been going through COVID-19. So emotional jobs are being done at this moment by different businesses with different products and services with different value propositions. And the important things to take into consideration. We tend to put a lot of information in the value proposition block also. And these two, customer segments and value propositions, we tend to put a lot of information. You don't have to put a lot of information, but always remember, what is the goal? The goal is to not focus on one block, but to understand the big picture. Creating value, delivering value, and capturing value. And then I got another best practice tip for you as entrepreneurs and small business owners, and this is from personal experience. And that is, don't just say yes to every opportunity that comes along. You need to focus. And this was one of my mistakes when I was an entrepreneur and I had my small business. I tried to be everything to everyone. And I wanted to sell my products to a big customer segment. Well, I expanded so much that my small business couldn't keep up with my business ideas, unfortunately. And that happens. But that's why we are giving you this advice. Don't say yes to every opportunity that comes along. You need to focus. And the business model canvas, once you build it, it will help you stay focused, because you will always check your business model canvas and see, okay, there is this opportunity that somebody's telling me about a new business opportunity. Will it match? Will it go with my business model, or will it send me somewhere else? And remember, we talked about being like a map. If you have a map, the roadmap will take you from where you start to your end goal. And that's what the business model canvas really helps you to reach your goals, to reach where your strategic plans are taking you to. Instead of getting off on every exit and trying to seek out an opportunity, you will keep focused. And this is the great, this is why the business model canvas is great. It's a great tool, and that's why it really helps you to stay focused. And we're finishing up today with this segment of the workshop. And I just wanna repeat, remember, your business, the goal is to create value, deliver value, and capture value. And today we have seen two building blocks, customer segments and value propositions. And I'm gonna stop sharing, and we are going to go and let all of you work on writing down some ideas in regard to your customer segments and value propositions. Jenny shared that practice handbook with you, and you can go over it and just read the first 2 pages and answer the questions that those pages have, and start writing down your ideas. But before we go, and before you go and work on your practice hand notebooks, are there any questions from anyone of any of the participants?
In this segment, Victor, they'll be gone for about, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah,
And
20
then they'll come
minutes.
back and run through it? Okay.
Yeah, and then we will come back, and all the persons that want to share what they wrote down on their value proposition and customer segment can share, and we could have a group discussions. And afterwards, as I stated, if you want to meet one-on-one, we can meet one-on-one directly at the Financial Empowerment Center. Or if you are in Ames, you can come and look for me at my office. Or we could even set up Zoom meetings where we can start working on your business model canvas. But are there any questions from anyone?
If you have a question, you don't have to raise your hand. You can
Yeah.
just start
Yeah,
talking. Just unmute.
Unmute. Yes, just unmute and start asking any questions that you have. If not, okay, well, it's 12:51. We'll be back at 1:11.